And you have to make a promise to yourself, whatever it is you decide that you want to become in life, and the type of person that you want to become, and the behaviors that you want to set for yourself as acceptable and healthy, the relationships that you create for yourself, make a promise to yourself, and the dream board also helps you with that because it's a continuous reminder. Google dream boards, and that way you'll understand how to make them, and it'll be a visual reminder for yourself every day on what your promise is to yourself. Okay, very, very important. Be inspired by others. Okay, never compare yourself to what do other people have. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't try to be what other people are, but be inspired by them. Right? I was inspired by Jennifer Lopez. I don't want to be Jennifer Lopez. I don't want to be a singer, a dancer, an actor, any of that. Maybe an actor. But anyway, just be inspired by their drive and by their passion and that kind of thing. Make every decision from the basis of, is this healthy for me? That's the foundation of my life. When I make friends, when I get into relationships with, people, when I'm working, right? There was a time period where recently I was working a couple part-time jobs, and it became very unhealthy for me. It was draining me. So I had to eventually say to myself, I had to listen to my spirit, listen to my body. My body communicates with me, and I said, is this healthy for me? And when it becomes unhealthy, or if it appears to be unhealthy, then I have to put up my boundaries and say, no, this is not something I'm going to do. Very important as you transition into adulthood and out of foster care is think before you act. Before you do something, ask yourself, what are the consequences? What are the rewards? You really want to make a decision of your actions based on what are the consequences and what are the rewards, okay? You want more rewards than consequences. Learn from other people's decisions in life, right? You don't have the time period in your life to make all the mistakes for yourself to learn from. Use other people's life experiences and say, okay, I don't want to use drugs because guess what? I can become a drug addict. I can lose my job. I can lose my family. I can get in trouble with my work and employment and XYZ. I can't get into the military. If I get in trouble with the law and these types of things. Plus, it's unhealthy for my body. So definitely think before you act and make your decisions more from your logical mind than your emotional mind. Okay? Emotion is phenomenal for inspiration and creativity and things of that nature and to create drive. But when you make decisions in life, you want to make logical decisions. Okay? Sometimes people get into relationships and they're like, oh, I love this person. We get along. They make me feel good. They give me attention. I've been there. I've done that. But logically, it wasn't a good decision. Maybe the person didn't have a job. Maybe they were unemployable. Maybe they're on drugs, You can love somebody to death, but they could be on drugs. And if somebody lives a different cultural type of lifestyle or different spiritual lifestyle, they have a different basis of their behaviors than you do. You say, logically, this is not a good match. Emotionally, you may really love that person, but you can love people from afar and say, this is not going to be a logical decision for me. Okay? Moving on to the second topic, education. First and foremost, listen, please. Hang in there and get your diploma. Your diploma is the foundation of how your life is going to proceed out of high school, out of foster care, into adulthood. If you don't have that high school diploma, you're going to run into some problems in life, okay? Not every military service will allow you in without a high school diploma, okay? The military has become more stringent on who they will allow to enlist. If you have a GED, it's possible that they may not. You want to do your research. Don't take no for an answer with your education. If you know you want to graduate from NYU or Duke or whatever university, if you know that you want to even go to college, it could be a community college. Don't let anyone tell you, you can't do that. Don't accept that, okay? You are the conductor of your life. Where there's a will, there's a way. You make it happen. Take your SATs just to be prepared, okay? Take your SATs. If you know you want to join the military, take your ASVAB. Prepare for that. Do your research. Ask your counselor. Call up a recruiter, okay? College is not for everyone. Figure out what your talents and what your abilities are. Where do you see your life going? Listen, if you know you want to be an electrician or a plumber or an artist or something like that, you may not need a college degree. If you want to be an entrepreneur, business management and administration and all that, that's always a good route. But you may not need it. If you want to be a cosmetologist, you don't need a 4-year degree in psychology. Okay, you need to go to cosmetology school. So a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree may not be for everybody. That's okay. You may need to get a trade, go to trade school. Other options is the military. Okay, maybe you don't want to go to college at all, but you want a good paying job. The military is phenomenal for that. Okay, when and if you decide you want to go in the military, start thinking about controlling the direction that you're going to go in with the military. You get to choose your job, okay? Based on your ASVAB scores, they'll give you a list of jobs you're eligible for. You decide which jobs you want to pick. If they give you a list of jobs you don't want, you can A, say, no, I don't want these jobs. I'll restudy for the ASVAB and, increase my score so you can increase your options of employment. Not employment, but the jobs that are available to you. Or you can say, okay, I'm going to go in. I don't really like this job, but I'm only going to do 4 years. So my perspective and my outlook is I'm determined to be the best that I can be in this particular field that the military is offering me. I'm going to see how it can benefit me for my future civilian jobs when I get out of the military, and consider the benefits of the military. Huge benefits, okay? You get medical benefits, dental benefits while you're in the military. You get the GI Bill as long as you stay 3 years and do not get discharged with anything other than an honorable discharge. And there may be some other qualifiers there, but there's great benefits to the military. It's a great resume builder. Many jobs love hiring veterans. You can also apply for government jobs, and they will see you have this military experience and may look favorably on you as an applicant for a future job than from just someone who's never been in the military. Okay. Plus the leadership and the ethical lessons that you learn in the military, the leadership qualities you'll develop, the mentorship. There's all kinds of benefits for the military. Also, when it comes to education, educate yourself about financial aid, okay? So how are you going to pay for college? There's grants. I've never learned how to get accepted for any grants, but there are people out there that I know that say they've gotten grants, okay? You want to meet those people. You want to research that so that you can do that for yourself, okay? My next topic is employment and money, right? Get a job immediately. I know a lot of foster children that I've known were not in a position to get employed, especially children in group homes. But listen, if you have the opportunity to get a job, go get a job. Very, very important, okay? If you can get 2 jobs after high school, get 2 jobs. When I was in the military, I always had a second job. I always had 2 jobs in my lifetime, even when I was going to college. Very, very important. Do mock interviews with your foster parents or your counselor or your teacher or something like that, okay? So when you're preparing for future employment, you want to be prepared. Interviews can be very intimidating, okay? You want to ask yourself also, if an employer asks you, right, why should we hire you? You want to prepare a statement to get familiarized with your answer. Let's say I'm your future employer and I say to you, John, why should I hire you? You want to have something prepared. You don't have to go word for word. You don't have to memorize it. But you want to say, because I'm very confident. I'm a person that shows up to work on time. I'm a hard worker. I have this education. I have these qualities that will benefit your company. They also may ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself. So you want to ask yourself, even if you have to do it in a mirror, pretend you're the employer and you say, why, or tell me something about yourself. Well, I'm a very outgoing person. I enjoy the outdoors. Let's say you're going to apply for a camp position or something like that. You can apply your personal qualities to that position. If you're really good at organizational skills or computer skills, if you're a cashier, you're very responsible with money. Whatever your personal qualities are, make them applicable to why this particular company should hire you. You're honest, you have integrity, you have people skills, you're great at customer service. Let me tell you, customer service is number one for many, many companies, right? Because your customer service is your direct contact with the customer. Without customers buying the product of the company, there is no company. So if you have great customer service skills, then that benefits the company because the consumer will probably buy the products from the company based on you being a pleasant person. You ever go to McDonald's or something like that, and the person has an attitude or doesn't ask you, or doesn't say, good morning, how are you? How can I help you? That's great customer service. If you get up to the counter and the person's like, can I help you? Or they ignore you. That's horrible customer service, right? So if you have great customer service skills, put that on your resume and let your future employer know that you have that. Once you do get a job and you start getting paid, open a checking and a savings account immediately, okay? And to do that, you need a photo ID. So make sure you get a state photo ID immediately. If you can't get your license, you can still get a photo ID. You need a photo ID for almost anything you do in the world. So definitely get that. Once you get your checking and savings account, open a credit card. You want to start building your credit. As you transition from foster care into adulthood, you need to build your credit. A credit card is a great way to do that. Don't splurge. Always make your payments on time and ahead of time. But it's a vehicle to build your credit. You can also get gas cards. You can get a department store card if you can't get a credit card. Try to get your credit card, your bank, your savings and checking account through a credit union. Credit unions have lower fees than your major banks like Bank of America and, Citicorp or whatever banks are out there these days. Budget. This is a huge thing. Learn to budget your money. Make a mock budget, even if you don't need a budget right now. And I suggest use $900 as your income, okay? $900. With your budget, you want to account for how much do you have to pay for rent. Research that. Let's say you're going to be a roommate. Maybe you got to pay $500 a month. Maybe you're going to get an apartment. It's $750 a month. You're going to have to pay for utilities, gas or electric. You have a cell phone. You have cable. So make a budget. You got $900. Minus your rent, minus your utilities, minus your cell phone, minus some spending money, minus food and transportation, and create your mock budget. Understand that work days typically go from like 8 to 4, right? Or 8 to 5. They're usually 8 or 9 hours long, depending on how long your lunch break is. You typically don't get paid for your lunch break. Many places give you a 30-minute lunch break. Some people give you an hour. In addition to the 8 to 4, there's also shift working. You could have a second shift job or a third shift job. A second shift job could be 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. A third shift job could be 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So familiarize yourself with the different shifts that employers offer. Understand that most people struggle financially until they get to a good place in life. You want to live below or within your means, okay? So that means don't be blowing up your credit cards, okay? Because then you have all this debt and little income. You want more money coming in than you're paying out. Very important. Have the mentality that you're a go-getter, okay? Be proactive with your life, with your employment, with your education, with everything in your life. Be a go-getter. Create a resume. Immediately create a resume. Even before you have a job, create the outline. You can Google it and get a template. You want to put everything on there that you've done If you've helped a teacher out at school, you can say you've been a teacher aide. If you know how to drive a tractor, if you lived on a farm, whatever you've done on there, put it on your resume. If you've worked at a daycare with your foster mom. I had a foster child that I mentored, and her mother had a summer daycare. And in the summer, she would work with her mom. So she's worked at a daycare. If you've been a cashier, you want to put that on there, okay? The concept is that your resume will build as time goes on, right? Start where you are and know that in time, it all builds. It all builds. The next section I want to talk about is housing. Create your dream board again. Spend some quality time. Create your plan. What kind of house do you want to live in? Do you want an apartment? Do you want to be a roommate? Do you want to buy a home in 5 years? Where do you want to live? Again, don't spend 5-10 years in Wisconsin if you really want to be in California or Idaho or Colorado. Figure out where you want to live and make a plan to get there sooner rather than later. Because living somewhere you don't want to live can really lead to a miserable life and reduces your quality of life. Different housing options that I came up with for you guys. IOP, housing options. Your college dorm housing. Foster parents. If you can extend your stay with your foster parents, it's a great idea. You don't want to move too fast out in the world if you don't have to, because when you do that, you got more responsibility. Make your life as easy as possible. You could move in with a friend, There's subsidized homes or housing. There's host homes, and there's group home transitional homes. Always have a backup plan, though. Because I don't know about you all, but when I was in foster care, I got kicked out of my foster mom's home at 18. I still had my senior year to go, and I had to move into someone's home, my girlfriend. Well, she eventually got jealous because her mother was paying a lot of attention to me, and she was a very privileged girl, and so she became jealous. So she told me, you got to go. I don't want you here anymore. So I moved in with another friend, and then we had a conflict there, and so I had to move out of that home, still in my senior year of high school. Eventually, I moved in with my foster sister, and I had to pay rent. I think we had 3 or 4 roommates. One was a police officer. They were all older. They were like 25 to 30. So I was the youngest one at 18. But, always have a backup plan. You got to take care of you. Nobody else is going to take care of you but you. Educate yourself again for housing. You got to pay utilities. Ask if you get an apartment or whatever, do you have gas and electric? Do you have only gas? Do you have only electric? You have to pay a cable bill. My cable bill, extremely high. I don't know why cable's so expensive, but it is. So learn about the different packages that, you get basic cable and things like that. Some of my friends only applied for a Netflix. They don't have a monthly cable bill. They pay the $9.99 for Netflix, and they just watch movies because that's not a bill they want to have. And that suits them just fine. When I lived in Georgia for the first year of my PhD, I did not own a TV. That was something I didn't want to pay for. So I got a lot of my academics done, and I worked on a lot of personal things I wanted to do, like promoting my book. Cable wasn't something I was interested in. Also know when you move into an apartment, you got to pay the first month and the last month rent. Some places ask for first month and a deposit for anything that you damage. So you got to have that money up front. There's also jobs that you can get that supply housing. Some of these are if you're an apartment complex manager. If you work on a cruise line, you're maybe on the cruise for 6 months. Well, then you don't need an apartment, right? Because you live on the cruise line. You can be a live-in nanny. You can also join the military. In addition to housing, you want to think about your transportation. Some transportation that's available to all of us is public transportation. There's buses and there's trains, depending on the geographical area you live in. When I lived in New York, I took, I think, 1 bus and 2 trains. In a previous video, I said 2 buses and a train, but that wasn't true. I took 1 bus and 2 trains to get to school and to get to where I needed to go. Here in Georgia, they have the metro in Atlanta, and they also have a bus line. But in certain areas of Atlanta, they don't have any public transportation. So you got to take that into consideration. If you buy a car, Will you buy a car flat out? Let's say a $3,000 car. You pay the $3,000. You own the car. All you have to do is go pay for it to get registered, to get your tags, and you have to pay for insurance. Another option is if you have a decent paying job, then you get a loan and you have a monthly payment for your car. But again, you have to pay for registration and insurance. You can walk to work. Maybe you live somewhere that's convenient to your employer. You can ride a bike to work. I know grown men that ride their bike to work. One, because they want to stay physically healthy, and other people because they don't have a license. So they drive their bike to work, or they ride it. You can also purchase a scooter, depending on your geographical area again. Scooters were very popular in Hawaii, not so popular in other places, in New York, bikes. There were a lot of people that drove bikes in New York. Skateboards, it's not your ideal mode of transportation, but hey, if you got a skateboard, those wheels are moving a lot faster than your feet would, right? So ride your skateboard to work until you can save enough money to get a different mode of transportation. And then you can always bum rides, right? We have friends who are like, I need a ride to work. Not the most reliable mode of transportation, but it's an option, right? The next topic I want to talk about is your support systems. Now, for, foster youth, we have to, as I was telling you earlier, be proactive in your perspective. You want the perspective that there are opportunities waiting for you. There are good things that are going to happen for you. There are people out there that want to help you. You have to have that open, welcoming mindset so that you can see the opportunities when they show up. You can see the people that want to help you when they show up. Because if you have a negative mindset, you're not going to be able to see them. You won't recognize them. So your support system. Here's some ideas of people that I believe are your support systems. Healthy foster parents. Healthy biological family members. Family of your friends. Huge support system. The girl I told you about, I moved in after I got kicked out of my foster mom. My girlfriend, my best friend's mom, she was a huge support system for me. When I graduated high school, she bought my graduation dress. And she did some other things to help me out, even emotionally. Huge support system for me. Your caseworker, your therapist, your school counselor, your teachers, your church members, ILP, huge support system. Use the foster care system until you don't need it anymore. They have many, many benefits. Your CASA representative, your lawyer, Foster Care Alumni of America on Facebook, and other foster care alumni and foster care organizations on the internet and on Facebook. Google them. Do the research. Be proactive, okay? The other thing I want to talk to you all about that will help you transition from foster care into adulthood is know what you have going for yourself as a foster care alumni, okay? Many people look at being in foster care as a negative. That is not accurate. It's based on your perspective. The people that look at foster care as a foundational building block are the ones that will use foster care and the foster care system to their benefit. So your experiences in foster care can be looked upon as a benefit also. You are resilient. Not everybody in the world is as resilient as you are because you've been through so many changes and this, that, and the other thing, moving home to home, abusive homes to healthy homes and all this kind of thing. So you want to remember, you are adaptable. You can adapt to different situations. Everything else in life is going to be a piece of cake, trust me, because you have the power now to go create the life that you want to live. Okay? Give yourself that credit. Know that. Get to know your specific talents and gifts and your unique abilities. You have these things going for you, okay? You're not a victim. Get involved with being proactive for your future, okay? The last topic I want to talk about are miscellaneous ideas that I have for you, okay? Now, I already spoke about getting your state photo ID as soon as possible. Everybody needs a state photo ID. If you want to get on an airplane, you need a photo ID. If you want to rent a car, you need a license. Okay, when you can get your license, get it. Be proactive with that, okay? Nobody, no fairy godmother is just going to come down and give you a license. You have to be proactive. Call DMV. Say, what do I need to do to get, my driver's license? You want to make sure you have a copy of your birth certificate and a copy of your Social Security card. You're an adult now. As you transition, these are the things you need to have in your possession. As we grow older and we transition into adulthood, whether we're foster children or not, we're responsible for feeding ourselves. Sometimes we don't always have a whole lot of money, okay? There are many college students that live off a ramen noodle that have nothing to do with foster care. They're just broke, Not every parent is paying bills, so they live off ramen noodle. So remember, and I suggest peanut butter and jelly. It's a little bit healthier. Not much, but I suggest looking into your local church. They have food pantries that will give you food to cook. They'll give you things like rice and sometimes vegetables and beans, things that are healthy for you. They'll also give you, what do you call those, reheatable, microwavable dishes and stuff like that, you could just stick in your cabinet, right? Make reading personal growth and development books your number one priority, okay? As foster alumni and foster children, we do not always have the privilege of having healthy adults really instill in us the things that we need to know, that people that grow up in healthy, proactive, biological families, that they instill in their children. Like I said earlier, the conversation about what are you going to do with your future, what college you're going to go to. In junior high school, many families are preparing. In kindergarten, many families are preparing for their kids to go to college. As foster children, we don't have that. We don't have that, right? So we have to make up for it. For all the stuff that we lose by being in foster care and moving home to home and all this instability in our life, we lose a lot of personal growth and education. So you have to take the initiative to make personal growth and development your number one priority, okay? Because you are putting deposits, you're making deposits into your own person, okay? To develop your mindset, to develop your education, and things of that nature. Create your own self. Read books on healthy decision making. Understand that you have personal power. Read books on personal power. Again, I mentioned to you earlier, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics. There's tons of books out there. We have a lot that we need to catch up on. Google. Google is your friend. It's there. Whatever question you have, Google it, okay? These are the things that you need to proactively take charge of in your life, okay? Because as foster alumni, we are not victims. We are victorious. We are victors. You need to know that. You need to own that, okay? And I really want to end with this. John F. Kennedy was our 35th president. And in his inaugural presentation or speech or whatever you call it, he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And that particular quote is so powerful in many different ways. And the way I want you to make it applicable to you as a foster alumni is this. Ask not what other people can do for you, but what you can do for yourself. When you learn to take that personal perspective and that personal responsibility of not asking what others can do for you, but what you can do for yourself, your whole life shifts. Your whole trajectory into your future will be something different. I guarantee you, trust me, I told you earlier, I guarantee you 1,000,000%. If you follow the things that I'm telling you, your life will be headed on a fabulous, fabulous path. And after all, the name of my book is From Foster Care to Fabulous. So nothing I tell you will lead you in a different direction, okay? I'm all about being fabulous.